Okay, so what is this? Like chapter two, vlog two, whatever? I don't know. Something like that, Day or two later. It's Monday, and yeah, I was just felt like making a little, I don't know, rant or whatever I want to call it. Just kind of my own personal little get things out there and maybe get some questions answered. I appreciate the people that reach out to me because there's quite a lot of you guys that have gone through some stuff, and I appreciate the advice and everything like that. Yeah, it's friggin' awesome to not awesome that you guys have gone through, but not it's awesome to get a little support. Appreciate that. But with that said, it's what was this? Like I said, captain's log, star date. You know, Mr. Failure of relationship or a kid, but who knows? Anyways, my issue. I have this weird you know, women have this, and I don't mean this in a bad way, but as good as women believe they are at understanding and believe they are being sympathetic, for a guy it's entirely different, because we're just a lot of guys are just we're messed up, we get raised differently, we're all guilty of it, if you have daughters and they fall down and scrape their knee, you go up there, you pick them up, you hold them, you give them love. If your son falls down, hey, get up, go be a little girl, you better not be crying. So I mean, from childhood, we're raised to be different, and it carries through as an adult, unless you're like I don't know, Gandhi or somebody that is better than I am. But anyways, I because when I say when I talk to like my wife or something like that, I know she's understanding of the situation of, when I say I was in a dark place or anything like that, people dying and not knowing how to process it and just like there's a level to what they can truly understand and what they just can't. Just like I'll never notice like if I can give childbirth. I'm not going to sit here and be like, hey, suck it up. It's not that bad. You're just it's not going to happen. So I think there's a fundamental level of what they can actually understand, and I don't think most females understand that there's actually a limit to what they do know. Because most women don't want to be wrong, and I don't blame them. I hate being wrong, but anyways, we do that from the time we're little to the time we die. Most guys will, we pack a lot of shit away. We got a big storage tank, but sometimes that storage tank just kind of you hit your limit, and you crack sometimes. And I don't think cracking is unhuman. I think there's levels to where you crack. Some people crack and they're off, having a second life and gambling away their kids' money and not paying bills and beating their wife. And there's those kind of guys. And then for a guy like me, I went through the motions of just making sure everybody was taken care of, provided for, and those things, and neglected myself, which I understand where my wife was coming from, not wanting to see the level of self-abuse I was going through. But all the while I'm like, hey, I'm getting up and going to work every day and making sure the bills are paid, making sure I'm supposed to be doing what I'm supposed to be doing for them. But the credit for that is, I won't even say credit, just the appreciation. I don't even think it's appreciation. I don't know what you would call it, but just like, dude, like, take a step back and be like, holy crap, this guy was in a dark place and still got up every day to provide. Granted, I did neglect emotions and feelings and being productive around the house, but that was you can only do so much during the day when you're in a bad spot. So it is what it is, because Chris Rock said it the best. He's like, women, children, and dogs are the only things ever unconditionally loved. Men are only loved on the condition they can provide something. And that's true. No guy is ever going to be unconditionally loved by anybody other than their mother if they happen to have a good mom. Some guys don't have a good mom, but every guy will still love his mom deeply. But and that's true. And I'm not saying it's right or wrong. It's just that's kind of how society's built, and it's one of those things is you can only self-reflect so much before I don't know, if you want to kind of start just throwing up, because you're just like, yeah, self-reflection's a bitch, but at the same time, it's like, where's the actual understanding? So that actual understanding, I don't know if it ever comes or not, but seems like when you scar a woman, they'll take it in a lot of different ways. I mean, I've never once hit my wife. Shit, I don't really even yell. I don't piss away our money. I make sure everything's paid for. Make sure but sometimes I feel like the way it's perceived is like she feels like she's a battered wife, like she's just and that's the distinction of, I'm learning to process things and learning to deal with feelings that I wasn't raised to do. So there's a disconnect, but at the same time, I don't know how entirely evil I was or am or anything. I think there was a wild time of just a wild time of a little darkness. I got that cloud, man. It's something you're not really prepared to deal with. Well, I was never prepared to deal with. I didn't really lose anybody close to me until I started losing what I was losing. But I trying to be understanding. I'm trying to go through those things and do what I'm supposed to be doing, because at the end of the day, it is my family, and I'm trying to make it right. But I don't know. It's weird. Just the mentality of a woman versus the mentality of a man is just so different sometimes. It's just like, why can't just something be taken at face value and there's no like ulterior motives behind it, or there's no fucked up miscommunication about it? But I rant. I'm just kind of ranting because that's kind of what, I don't know, it feels good to do. It feels good to rant in this kind of format for some reason. But I'm trying to do right. But it's one of those things like, I look at my wife's face when we talk, and I feel like all she sees is the dark that I couldn't control. Like I said, again, it's just something I wasn't emotionally equipped to handle. But I feel like that's all she sees. She doesn't see or maybe she does. I don't know. I haven't asked. She doesn't see the old me that did bring her happiness and everything. I don't know. Like I said, maybe it's just too soon, or I don't know, the wounds are too fresh or whatever. But for me, it's just like, I chose to hit this ground running, and I gotta trust my gut, and I gotta trust what I gotta do. And I don't know for anybody else out there, just how do you handle it? What do you do? I mean, you trust the process, I guess. Maybe one day she'll wake up and she'll be like, "Damn, he wasn't necessarily wrong." I'm not saying. That's the weird thing. Two people doesn't have to be wrong to be right. Like, it just can be this weird misinterpretation or miscommunication of something where I was doing right for the right reasons, but fundamentally maybe in the wrong way, and just wasn't seen that way. But who knows? I appreciate the rants and you guys let me listen. You guys listening, and if you got any advice, drop a line. I'll update in a few days, see what happens. It's like I said, it's Monday, so we'll see how it goes. I got my child here. She's strung out on Pinterest right now, so we'll see how everything else goes. You kids have a good night.